I am so glad that you've tuned in here to Terry TV and excited to bring you another guest that has lots and lots of value. And I just met this lady, I don't know, a month or two ago, and instantaneously took a liking to her and then kind of stalked her out on social media and on her website, kind of checked people out, and got really excited about who she is and what she does. And you know what, I think this is a very important topic and something we certainly have not discussed, but I talk to business owners all the time who have more money going out of their business than sometimes flowing in. And from my own personal experience, one of the first years in business that I made $1 million, I was so excited. And yet I only kept about 50,000. So this is an important topic. She calls herself a budgetologist. Write that word down because it's a new word for your vocabulary. Her name is Phylecia Jones. And she really is here today on our show with us to provide you some help and some expertise. She founded Budget School, and she hosts the Budget School podcast. I recommend you do tune into that. And literally, to me, she is not just the on-the-go person I would talk to for budgeting. Yeah, I'm going to say you're a little bit of a budgeting nerd. Is that okay?
That is absolutely fine with me. I love it.
All right. I totally love it. And I agree with your philosophy that it is time that we entrepreneurs and business owners absolutely have a bit of, as you call it, a wake-up call. If we're not looking at our numbers and we're not managing our money and our budget, this could all be for naught, right? So welcome to the show, Phylecia.
Hi, thank you, Terry, for having me. This is so much fun. You know, I am a budgeting nerd, so anytime I can talk about money and nerding out over budgeting, I am all in. So thank you so very much for having me.
Totally excited to have you. I'll tell you, you know, in the 40-something years I've been in business, I don't find a lot of people who enjoy talking about budgeting. They talk about making money. They don't talk about budgeting. So how did you get into this? Why this area of expertise?
You know, I got into this because I learned about money the good old-fashioned hard way. I came out of college. I worked for the U.S. Navy, and they gave me tons of money. Yeah. And I spent every last dime of it. So at some point, there was a wake-up call. You know, I call it the waterfall from my second floor down to my first floor. And it made me pay attention to the fact that I needed to do something with my money because I was living day to day, check to check, and I was making over $100,000 a year. That was the crazy part. So I knew then that it was time to really focus on the money, and having a budget was actually one of the best things I could have done because it gave me more opportunities instead of restricting me. So that's how I got into budgeting.
You know, I love that. It gave you more opportunities than restricting you, because I think what people begin to think of right away is, oh, budget sounds restrictive. I love that it gave you more opportunities. And that's going to be an important point for our viewers. So what do you say to our viewers who maybe are just starting in business, don't have a budget, maybe are already in business, don't have a budget, or maybe we're like me, went out there and did $1 million, 100,000, 800,000, and aren't keeping a lot. What do you want to say to them?
You know what? The first step is just acknowledging that money is a part of your business. You know, it's so funny when we business owners start everything, you know, I call us creatives at heart, but because we want to go and do the idea, we want to make the money, we want to make sure everybody has our stuff in their hands, but we don't want to pay attention to what I call the sexy stuff, the non-sexy. You know, that's the numbers, that's the budgeting, that's the bookkeeping. And I always tell people to start with, you got to acknowledge that money is a part of your business and it has to be a priority. It doesn't need to be the reason why you're in business, but it has to be a priority because it'll tell you if you're going to be a success, if you're going to be a failure, if you have any money, if you can pay yourself. I mean, your numbers tell a huge story about what you're doing.
They really do, and it's so fascinating. You know, I've been mentoring business owners for 20-something years, 5,000 plus, and I find, to see if this is something that you also have discovered, that for some reason entrepreneurs, business owners almost don't like to have a money conversation. Do you find that, and what is that?
You know, a lot of people just don't like talking about money, which is, I had a client one time, she said, you know what? Talking about money is harder than talking about my sex life. And I was like, wow, that is, was like, that's interesting. I was like, would you rather talk about that instead? I was like, I can do that too. But I think what happens is that because money says, we put so much judgment, shame around money, and we think it's about our character and it's about what we're doing. So that's why so many people don't even want to have this conversation, because we didn't grow up having the conversations in our home. And unfortunately, we have to have that conversation as business owners, because you know what? If you're not making money, you may not have a business.
I'm so glad you just said it outright and blunt. You know, that's one of the things that I say to business owners. You can't afford not talking about money, because if you're not talking about money, you may not have enough money to stay in business. So you've got to face up to it now, right?
Exactly. And what happens is that we think that more money will solve all of the problems. You know, I've worked with people who have made $300,000 a year and barely have enough money in their bank account. So you have to have that talk about money, about having it as an abundance, and also how to manage it. Because so many businesses, I mean, gosh, you know this, you know, the Small Business Administration says that most businesses won't even survive the first 18 months. And the number one reason, money.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of people go into business, in my experience, very undercapitalized. They don't really think about the fact that they need some money, and they just open their doors and say, I'm in business.
You know, everybody thinks, well, you know, the money will come, which I am a positive thinker. I know the money will come, but we got to have a plan for how the money is going to come in and how we are going to use it. You know, one of the interesting stats, because I do work a lot with solopreneurs, is that on average, in that first 3 years of starting a solo business, you will spend $48,000. That's a lot of money. And if you haven't put a plan together of how you're going to spend it and how you're going to manage it, you know, that's a lot of money that just kind of poof, went away.
I never heard that figure. I will remember that. That really left an impression upon me. So what do we tell people who are going, yeah, I don't have a budget. I'm not good at budgeting. I don't even know where to begin. I get what you're saying, Phylecia. What do I do?
You know, the first thing is to change that money mindset. We always got to go back to that money mindset. If you're always telling yourself that you're not good with money, you're not good with numbers, guess what? You're never going to be good with numbers, and you're never going to be good with money. And that'll actually have a profound effect on your business. So you got to have to get out of that mindset. And then the other thing is just start. I tell people, just start with the system first. The 1st and 15th of each month, I say take 1 hour between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. and just look at your overall financial picture. You don't have to solve the world's problems. You don't have to solve anything, but it's getting in that habit of saying, you know what, for 1 hour, I'm going to look at the money. I'm going to see what's happening, what I need to do, what's going on. And then you'll just start getting into this flow of adding this to a regular process in your business and just really paying attention to the numbers that come through your business on a daily basis.
I have to say, that is easy, effortless, simple. We can all do that. And that's keeping our eye on the right ball, the key performance indicators in our business. You know, you don't have to be in business just because you want to make money. However, to stay in business, we need you to keep afloat. We need you to make sure that you've got money flowing in. Now, I'm curious about your opinion. I get asked this question sometimes from newer business owners. I got asked this recently. Should I put money aside? Should I take a salary? How do I pay myself? And do I ever pay myself?
You know what? I tell people you have to pay yourself, and you pay yourself first.
Yes, I that.
You know, I have to tell people, you know, you get in business because I know you want to change the world. You want to change the community. You want to change your life. But a lot of us, we have families, we have kids. I always say we have cats and dogs and husbands and wives that are along on this journey. And you got to show them something. You got to give a marker back to your home to say, you know what, I'm working hard. I'm not just taking money for fun. It's not just a hobby, but you got to give yourself a salary because bills need to be paid. You know, somebody said that we need to eat and have shelter. I wonder who said that. Yeah. So the money has to go back into your home. So that's why it is so important to give yourself a salary. And I usually tell business owners, it's just a system. I take the 1st and 15th system. even if you can only pay yourself $5 in the beginning, have it auto drafted out of your business accounts into your personal. So that way, you'll get excited about celebrating getting $5 a month or $10 a month. But it just starts a system so that that money is going back into your home to take care of everything. And it's so funny. I told my husband, like when I first started, I was giving myself a salary of $15 every first and 15th. And I was like, you know what? I said, when I was making a lot of money, I never celebrated getting this much money. Now, when somebody pays me, it's like a little happy dance going on. So you have to write that check and like, oh my gosh, I earned my $15. So yes, you got to celebrate and you got to give yourself a salary.
That is so true. It's so true. My very first year in business, I was a speech language pathologist, and money was coming in, and I lacked any knowledge of what to do with money or how to control money. And I remember at the end of the year, I was doing some work in my office, and there were 5 checks just sitting in a drawer that I had never, they were patient checks I'd never even done anything with. And my husband said, "Don't you care how much money you're making?" And I said, "Well, I'm not taking any money out of the business." He said, "Well, let's start." And he's a financial advisor. "Let's start with you taking something out as a salary. And then I bet you remember those checks and they don't go into a drawer." It ended up being really helpful advice.
It's so funny. You tell that story. I just met someone a couple of weeks ago. Their business was taking off, and it's a husband and wife team. And the husband came in and said, "Hey, we have all these outstanding invoices." And she said, "You know what? I'm just too busy to go and bill people." And I was like, that's unacceptable.
Oh my gosh.
You got to go and bill the people because, make the time. And like I said, I know it's not all about the money, but it becomes really important when you don't have any sometimes. So you got to take a salary, and you also got to go bill people.
Yeah, I'm actually really glad that you just mentioned the billing people, because I get into conversations with people sometimes that almost don't like that aspect of business. It's like, I love to help, I love to serve, my products, my services. Oh, I just hate sending out bills, and if they don't pay, I hate following up. Can you speak to those members of our audience?
Yeah, just don't do that anymore. No.
I told you she has good friends.
Just like I told the young lady, and we were laughing over this, I was like, that's unacceptable. You know what? You got in business, yes, to help people to get your services and products, but you got to remember there are people on the backside who are supporting you. You have your family, you have those cats and dogs and everyone who's watching you, the kids. So you got to take yourself a salary, and that's why you got to bill people. You got to go out and get your money. And also, if you have employees, if you have subcontractors, they're working for you and they're supporting you. So you got to take that extra step and make sure that you are billing, and also value yourself. You are a talented person. You have a skill, and you have earned the right to get paid. Giving your services away for free and not billing it will hurt you later on in business. And if you are absolutely afraid, you don't love that part of the business, you can actually hire out and get some help doing it. So if you don't love it, stay in your genius zone and find someone else that'll help you do that. Easy.
I'm really glad that you said that. I mean, I always tell people, look, if you're real uncomfortable in some aspect of your business, that's the aspect that you want to delegate. You don't want to do that. Make sure somebody's on top of it, though. I think about a grocery store. They're very busy. They're stocking the shelves. They're doing whatever they're doing. However, they always have people in a checkout counter, always ready, because they want to get paid for providing you the services.
Yes.
Does that make sense if we start thinking that way?
Yes, you always should be ready, because, you can provide the service, and if you're not getting paid, it almost sometimes is like, what's the point? Because I have worked with people that have given away everything for free. And then what happens is that you start getting resentful and you get frustrated after, I would say about 3 or 4 years in, you start getting really, really frustrated, and you start feeling as if people are walking over you. So yes, you need to always be prepared to get paid. And I know the conversation we're having is a very odd one, because a lot of people will think we're all about the money. And it really isn't all about the money. It's about valuing what you are doing and earning and earning your check and being prepared to have that system in place, because you don't want to have a failing business and you don't want to go out of business. So why not go ahead and get paid and be ready for it?
And be ready for it. I love that. So if you think about it for a minute, every single person who gets into business, we typically do it because we have a passion for something and something we really want to do, a product or service that speaks to us that we want to offer. We can't continue to offer that if we go out of business, and we won't be of service to anyone. So while we're talking money right in this moment, it's really about how do you, entrepreneur, my word, how do you pass it forward? How do you keep creating value for more and more people? Well, you'll be out of business and won't be creating value for anyone. So money, to me, and I'll be curious what you think about this, Phylecia, it's always been for me, it's an energy exchange. If you've got a product or service that can help me, energetically, I hand you, it's pieces of paper, or think about it, it's nothing. It's pieces of paper, it's plastic, it's, in a way, it's almost meaningless, right? I'm sending you that, it's a thank you. Thoughts about that?
You know what? You're so right. And it really is just an energy exchange. But I'll actually take you up a notch in that. Go back to your vision. Go back to why you started your business. If it was to support your family, if it was to change a community, if it's, one of my reasons for business is to make a lot of money so I can give it away. And I honestly had to realize that in order for me to do that, I have to make the money now. So it really is an energy exchange, and you have to center yourself around what is that energy. And I say, always go back to your vision, go back to your mission, go back to that really big plan that you have, because in order to change your family's life, in order to change your life, to change the community, conquer the world, whatever it is, you got to tap into that positive energy and realize that, you know what, you're going to have money to do that. So yes, I totally agree with you.
Awesome. Awesome. That's brilliant. I really wonder if someone is really struggling, and let's just play with this. I'm going to use a real client example. Struggling with a couple things. So this client came to me, and she had about 5 clients that were behind in their payments, and she was struggling with what to say, how to say it. And she was also struggling with, do I create enough value to get paid this much? What would you say to that client if she were your client?
Oh, wow. That's so many things around that. So first, for the services that she has already done, and that's where I would start first, is that you already provided this service and they agreed to pay you. If you are, if you have some anxious energy around talking to them about getting paid, hire someone quickly. Bring in your mom, bring in your friend who has no problem. Like, hey, can you pay me right now? Take care of that. But also you have to step back and look at your value, and, because a lot of people worry, like, am I justified in getting paid this much? You have to really work on that mindset and really dig into your self-worth. And yes, 9 times out of 10, you are worth it, especially if they've already agreed to pay you. If they've already agreed to pay you, then yes, you are worth it. You have been validated in that your gift, your talent, your skill, somebody wants and somebody needs. And I think sometimes we have to always go back to that and understand that we have a gift and that people want our gift, and, and we deserve to get paid for it, because if you give it away too many times, you'll get depleted and burnt out.
Yeah, you will. And I find that the more that you give it away, the less people really value it. It's like, well, it must not be. Think about this. Let's say you were going to have surgery, and you get referred to a surgeon who's really high priced, and you go talk to the surgeon, and the surgeon's like, listen, I've been doing this for years. I've done this surgery over and over again. And you feel pretty confident. And you go to another surgeon who says, I'm kind of new at this. I haven't done a lot of these. So either I'm charging a low price or I'm going to do a complimentary. Personally, I'd run.
It's so interesting. Some things are worth free. They honestly are. But sometimes if you find a person who gives so much of themselves, they are so burnt out that they honestly can't even serve properly. Yeah. So there are some people who give away items for free, and you should jump on it. I mean, seriously, if Oprah was giving away free coaching,
We'd all be there. Yeah.
Jump on it instantly. You need to pay attention to her. But you also got to realize that she's only probably going to give you little itty bitty bits of everything. But when you want to make that commitment, yeah, there's going to be a price tag. So it's a weird thing when it comes to that free. But I've noticed that people who give away so much of themselves without putting a price on it, they're usually burnt out and they don't last very long.
I would agree with you. I've definitely seen that in the coaching and the consulting professions quite a bit. I would definitely agree with that. All right, let me switch to a little bit different topic. Ooh. So let's say that I am watching my numbers a bit, not as effectively as I could, and a lot of money seems to be leaking out of my business. Then what?
You know what? If a lot of money is leaking, you need to really pay attention. So usually what happens, especially for my newbie business owners, we get into this habit of we wait until like March or April 15th to look at all of the numbers. And by that time, we either start panicking, we start freaking out because we don't know where the money went. I always say you got to stay on top of it. If you have that gut feeling that more money is going out, you're probably right. And it's time for you to really sit down and pay attention to where the money is going. I usually tell people you have to decide when you look at the numbers, because they'll tell you what's going on in your business. They'll tell you if you're not doing well, if you're overspending, if you're wasting money. And usually you have to decide if you have been investing in your business or if you're just spending money. And those are two big differences, because when you're always being sold into something that you're not using, I mean, because we've all done it. We have those services that we're paying for each month that we forgot about for $500 at the end of the year. You got to decide if you're spending money or if you're investing. And when you are investing, then everything is falling right into place and everything has a purpose and a meaning. When you're just spending, you'll feel like you're wasting. Money's just being tossed out and you don't really know what's happening. So you got to really look at those numbers if you're noticing that more money is going out, because it probably is.
Yeah, you're right about that. I even use my own personal life as an example. I happen to love shoes. Yes, I admit it right here. I do love shoes.
That's okay. I love them too.
Okay. And I have a really small foot. I'm a size 5, so it's hard to find a lot of fashionable shoes. So for many years, whenever I saw shoes, if they were a 5, even if they were the best shoes in the world, I just bought shoes, right? And then one day I said, a lot of the shoes I buy, they don't last, they fall apart, they're just not that good. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do what I do in my business. In my business, I spend my money wisely making investments that are going to bring something back to me. Now when I buy shoes, I buy like the best freaking shoes. They're comfortable, they look good, and they're going to last. So that's a mindset thing, isn't it?
You know what? For everybody watching, Terry just admitted she likes to buy expensive shoes.
That's a first.
You know what? I love how we get in our brain like, this is a good reason to buy expensive shoes. I love it. But yes, there is something about buying quality. I learned this a long time ago. Somebody said, if you buy cheap, you'll keep buying it over and over again. But if you buy quality, it will last forever. And it's the same thing in your business. If you are just kind of spending, trying to keep up with everyone else, a lot of money will go out. But if you make those right investments, that right business coach, that right strategist, your business will boom and just go crazy if you make those right decisions, because they are the decisions that will last for you forever, and I know we've all been through that task where we've worked with a coach and we forgot exactly what they told us as soon as we hung up the phone, or we worked with someone 10 years ago and it's like you remember everything they said like a pin drop, and their program backwards and forwards. So you got to invest in the quality inside of your business and it'll last you a lot longer than you think.
That is just so perfectly said. Perfectly. So I don't find you nerdy. I just want you to know that. I do definitely find you to be amazing as a budgetologist.
Oh, thank you.
Really, really great. I'm excited. I'm excited about who you are, what you do. I thank you so much for your time and being so generous here in this interview. One maybe last word of wisdom or something that you really want the audience members to take with them.
One thing I will love to leave everyone with is that, remember, it is your money. It is your business. And if you need help, reach out and get the help. You know, we are in this place in this world where we want to do everything ourselves and show up strong and confident when we're probably falling apart on the inside. If you need help with your money, reach out to people you trust, and be very careful with that. People you trust and will guide you in the right way. And I always tell this to everyone that I work with. There are no silly questions when it comes to understanding your money inside of your business. That's it.
Beautiful. Well, I can't thank you enough for being a guest here today on Terry TV. And I'm telling you that the little system you gave with like the 1st and the 15th is magical. And I really appreciate that.
Thank you so very much. This was a lot of fun.
It sure was.